Alright, so I come back and I don't know, let's see, I come back for my 2.5 months in America and now I'm ready to, so that I make, well, the first thing I did when I come back is we had a new car. So we went and did a trip, drove down to Termas del Flaco, is that what it's called? This town, we drive way down to some town and then up in the mountains all night long, and then across some river. Like had to gun it to get across in this old Renault Lee car from like 1981. But it was in really good shape. And hung out at these hot springs, which were really cool. One night, and then I wanted to go and climb up the mountains to like find where the plane crashed and I'm gonna be alive. So I drive back and like my wife and her kid get in a bus and go back to Santiago. But then I hike up a trail and some lady's like, "Oh, you can't go up here anymore," and I turned around. Probably should have just gone anyway. Chileans have a bad habit of not wanting to allow you ever to go up in the mountains. Santiago, like I said before, is the most beautiful city in the world, but nobody goes in the mountains, and you pretty much can't. It's pretty much illegal to go anywhere in the mountains. You either have to pay somebody, or you straight have to trespass. There's a one valley that goes up, I can't remember what it's called, but you go up towards the ski resorts, and there's this valley off to the left here, right at the mouth of the canyon, and if you go up it, you can, and if you continue, you go up to this tunnel that goes literally through a mountain, like a mile or something, down into this copper mine, which I did with my buddy. It was two full days. We started out like 4 in the morning, and we rode up, mountain biked up this trail, and then we pushed our bikes. It would have been easier to mountain bike up the other trail. We were planning on doing that later on, but we never got around to it. And then it goes around, but we pushed our bikes like one day. It was pretty much like the whole day. Or half of one day and half of the other day, up this canyon, riding a little bit and then pushing, but it was really fun. And then we went through the tunnel and then came out, and the guy over the other side was like, "What the hell are you guys doing here? It's illegal to be here." I guess you can understand being illegal to be in the copper mine, even though there was great mountain biking there and roads everywhere. So he actually escorted us down to the mouth of the mine, and we rode down. But even going up that, we had to hit it at like 5 in the morning or something, 6 in the morning when nobody was there, and there's this huge gate we had to carry the bikes over. Because during the day, if you want to go there, you have to pay like $5 or $6 a person per day. I tried to go up there with my wife and her kid to go hiking up there, and they were like, "Nope, $6 a person per day." So to be there for like a week, between the three of us would have been just ridiculously expensive. And that was like the only, and they say it's for like trail maintenance, but there's no maintenance on the trail. It's just, I guess there's some rich person who owns that land and just wants to get richer by charging people to walk on the trail. And hiking up Ramon, we had to like trespass, through some land, and then there's a mountain bike trail just north of that goes up to a waterfall that we went up, and then some guy was telling us that was trespassing. And then we went up some other way to some other waterfall, and these guys made us turn around and said that was trespassing, and that was like where the water came from. And we actually talked to those guys. It was like 3 guys with horses and guns who just hung out there all the time, and that's what their job was, I guess, to make sure people couldn't hike up in the mountain. And we're like, "What the hell is this? You can't go anywhere in this freaking country in the mountains. It's like illegal to go anywhere." And they're like, "Oh yeah, well people will litter if they go." And we're like, "Well, why don't you let people go and wait till they litter, and then use that as a reason instead of just expect that people are going to litter?" And besides, we're gringos anyway. We're not going to litter. And they're like, it's different here than there. So, but it is actually legal to climb the mountains from a trailhead from the northern side of that range that makes Cerro Ramon. You go up towards the mountains, towards the ski resort, and then you can go off right before the bridge goes over the river. You go down and get off the trailhead and hike up there. But that's like the only like real legal way to do it. But if you go up into the mountains, you can actually climb up and over a mountain on the, I can't remember the, it's like this new, on the north side of Mount Kegway. There's some new kind of housing developments, kind of suburbia type, upper scale type of area. And if you continue up past there, there's really great mountain biking up towards the mountain, and you can get over those mountains into the area. But I mean, even if you want to climb Mount Kegway, you have to go through people's backyards just to, or sort of, just to get up there. And there's no trail. It's just kind of like bushwhacking for a lot of the ways. And no signs. Forget about the signs. We climbed Mount Kegway a couple times. And the first time I did it, I could see how the whole valley was just all, well, it's Garua, kind of like in Lima, where you can only see like 100 couple blocks. In Chile, you can, in Santiago, you can see more than that, maybe 20 blocks, and then it all fades. But after a rainstorm, you can see all the way to the edge of the town, and it's really pretty. But I went up on the top of Mount Kegway one time, and it was all like this cloud layer covering the whole city. It's a fun climb. But yeah. So, anyways, I turned around when I went to climb up to the plane, and I actually climbed up in that direction, back from that direction, and then back up it like the next year. And we just didn't talk to anybody, didn't say where we were going, and we just went. And because if you say anything, then they'll just be like, oh, but you can't do that. So anyways, I got back in the car, and I drove back towards Santiago, and I was right on the edge of town, and the engine blows up. And we bought the car from my wife's uncle, the husband of my wife's mother's sister, or the ex-husband. And so he didn't have any kind of a warranty or anything for it, so I just gave it to him to like fix the engine, and he charged me and fixed the engine. And then he gave it back to me, but the gas was totally drained out of it, even though I gave it to him like with a full tank. And I asked my wife if I should say anything. She said, oh no, all the mechanics do that. It's just what they do here. They drain all the gas out of your car, and so just don't say anything. So I was like, okay. So we got in the car, we tried to do another trip, pretty much right after we got the car back. Only it was just this time, it was my wife and I guess her kid was over with the father. We drove up Cano Maipu, and then went left towards Lago de Yeso, Lake Yeso, which is Lake Chalk, because there's like chalk all over the place, and that's where they mine for chalk. And it's really beautiful because you go way up in the mountains, right at the base of some like another one of these like 18,000 foot mountains, which would have been beautiful to climb on this big lake. But we were heading up there, up a road, going really slowly, and then the engine blows up. And I actually tried to go up there one time in the Mini. I went up there with my buddy and my wife and her kid, and the Mini broke down. But we turned around and like push started the Mini, and it barely like puttered back into town before it totally exploding like a couple of miles from the house where we had our friends tow us back. And that was the last. I only drove the Mini like 4 times. I drove it once up there trying to get to Lake Yeso, and it broke down. I drove it to work once, and I think around the block a couple times, and that's all I did in the Mini. I mean, I drove it as many times as I had the engine rebuilt, and I only drove it it only worked more than a couple times. Never more than 4 days, more than a couple times. It was the same thing with this Renault. I drove it once down to Termas del Flaco, came back, it blows up, and then we drove up, and we get a little bit past where the Mini blew up,